Hello students, today we will be learning about ionic solids from class 12 chapter 1 chemistry solids. In the previous session we had learned about molecular solids. In the classification of crystalline solids we studied about molecular solids. Now let us move on to the second type of crystalline solid, which is ionic solid. Now when we study these type of solids, there are four main things what we must know about. That is, what these type of solids are made up of, what are their constituent particles. Okay, so the first thing that we must know about is what are the constituent particles. Then we must know how are they formed. Okay, how are they formed? And then we must know what kind of force of attraction do they have, what kind of force of attraction exists in this type of solids. Then we must know what kind of physical nature, what is their physical nature. Then about their conductivity. Okay, about their conductivity. Then we must know some of the examples of these type of solids. So when you frame an answer, you must make sure all these points come into your answer. Alright, so when we talk about ionic solids, here we will be studying about what are the constituent particles in ionic solids, how are ionic solids formed, what kind of force of attraction exists in these type of solids, and what is the physical nature, we must know about their conductivity, that is whether they are insulators or whether they are conductors or semiconductors. Now and last we must know about examples. What are some of the examples? I missed one point. We should also know about melting point and boiling point. How is it? Okay, so this is the sixth one. Okay, this is the sixth point and this is the seventh point. So let us study in detail about each one of these. Okay, so first it was the constituent particles. So when we talk of the particles, what are the particles in ionic solids? You can find it out from the name itself, ionic solids. See, ION. So yes, these type of solids are made up of ions. Okay, the constituent particles in ionic solids are ions. Now our second question was, how are they formed? How are these kind of ionic solids formed? They are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of ions. Now there are two types of ions, right? There is a cation and an anion. So instead of telling that they are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of ions, you need to tell they are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions. Okay, so first question's answer was the constituent particles are ions. Now our second question was, how are they formed? They are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement. They are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions. Now, solids, why are they called as solids? Because they are having strong force of attraction between the particles, between the opposite particles. They have strong force of attraction, right? Only because of strong force of attraction we can see them, we can call them as a solids. That is why they are bound, that is why they are having a specific shape. because of the strong force of attraction. Now the next question is, what kind of force of attraction exists in ionic solids? When they ask the kind of force of attraction, we must mention if it's Coulombic. We must mention it if it is Coulombic or electrostatic force or dipole, what kind of force exists. Okay. In ionic solids, the kind of force that exists in ionic solids are Coulombic and electrostatic force. Okay. The type of force that exists in Coulombic or ionic solids are Coulombic or electrostatic force, not dipole. Okay. So our first question was, what kind of particles? The particles are ions, and it is, how are they formed? They are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions. And what kind of force they are bound by? They are bound by strong Coulombic and Coulombic or electrostatic forces. Next question was the physical nature. What kind of physical nature do these type of solids have? These solids have the physical nature is hard but brittle. What is brittle? Brittle means it can break easily. It breaks easily. Okay. So the physical nature is hard but brittle. Next we had a question about their melting and boiling point. The melting point is high and boiling point is also high. These kind of solids have high melting and boiling points. The melting and boiling points are high. Then about their conductivity, whether they are conductors or insulators. Well, these type of solids, they are both insulators and conductors, but if you write this, you will not get mark. You must specifically tell they are insulators and conductors when and where. Okay, these ionic solids, they are insulators in the solid state. In the solid state, ionic solids are insulators in the solid state. When it comes to conductors, they are conductors in the molten state. The molten state and in aqueous solutions. So here once again, ions, they are made up of the constituent particles are ions, and they are formed by three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions, and they are bound by strong, okay, they are bound by strong Coulombic or electrostatic forces, not Coulombic and, okay, it is Coulombic or. Any one of them will only be present, both will not be there. So strong Coulombic or electrostatic forces, and their physical nature is hard but brittle. And what next we had, they have high melting and boiling points. They are insulators in solid state. They are conductors in molten or the aqueous state. Next, let us see some of the examples. What are the examples of ionic solids? Some of the examples of ionic solids are, let me just erase a bit of this so that I can write neatly. Yeah, some of the examples of ionic solids are NaCl, MgO, ZnS, CaF2, okay, this is F, So CuSO4, copper sulfate. Okay. So sodium chloride, NaCl, MgO, ZnS, copper sulfate, CaF2. So these are the some of the examples of ionic solids. Okay, these are the examples of ionic solids. So you just need the answer to each of the questions which we asked before, and then the concept is yours. You can ace it. Okay, so once again let us write what all were the questions. First questions was what are the constituent particles? What are the constituent particles? Our second question was how they are formed. How they are formed. A third question was the how they are formed means in that both the type of force of attraction will also come in this. A third question was about the physical nature. Fourth was all about their melting point and boiling point. Then about their conductivity. Then we had the examples. So just answer these questions shown here, and then it's going to be clear. So what are the constituent particles? The constituent particles are ions. How are they formed? They are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of ions, but you must specifically tell it as cations and anions, and are bound by strong Coulombic or electrostatic force of attraction. Electrostatic forces, not force of attraction, electrostatic forces. Physical nature, they are hard but brittle. Melting and boiling point, high melting and boiling. Okay. Conductivity, they are conductors in solids. They are insulators in molten state or in aqueous solution. Then examples are NaCl, CuSO4, CaF2, MgO and ZnS. Okay, so when you study about ionic solids or any type of solids, just ask these questions to yourself, and you must learn it in such a way that you can answer these questions, right? And you just have to frame it. All these points just write together and the answer is complete. So let us see how we will write an answer to ionic. If the question is, I'll write the question. If you're getting a question as write a short note on ionic solids. Write a short note on ionic solids. How will you write it? How are you going to put the answer? This is how it should look like. Okay. Let me take some other color. We'll go for brown. Yeah. So you have to write a short note on ionic solid. So first, this is how it should go. The constituent particles are their ions. They are formed by three-dimensional arrangement. They are formed by three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions, and are bound by strong Coulombic or electrostatic forces. Physical nature is hard but brittle. They have high melting and boiling points. They are insulators. They are insulators in solid state, but they are conductors in molten state or in molten state and in aqueous solutions. Examples, some of the examples are NaCl, MgO, CuSO4, ZnS, CaF2. 5 examples. So this is how your answer should look like. Okay, this answer includes all the important necessary points in ionic solids. So write a short note on ionic solids. The constituent particles are ions. They are formed by three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions and are bound by strong Coulombic or electrostatic forces. Physical nature is hard but brittle. They have high melting and boiling points, and they are insulators in solid state but are conductors in molten state and in aqueous solutions. Some of the examples of ionic solids are NaCl, MgO, copper sulfate, ZnS, CaF2. Okay, so just ask these questions and you can frame this kind of answer. Alright, so I hope everything related to ionic solids is clear to you, and if you have any doubt, please do ask your questions and doubts in the comment section. I will surely answer them for you. So let's see in the next class, and in the next class I will be teaching you all about metallic solids. So see you then. Bye bye.